Third down and 20.
Quarterbacks with their keep trade cut rankings. We'll start with the Cowboys, Eagles, football team, and then Giants each time. Dak Prescott, quarterback 6. Cooper Rush, not ranked. Jalen Hurts, quarterback 18. Joe Flacco and Nick Mullins, not ranked. Washington, Ryan Fitzpatrick, quarterback 31. Taylor Heineke, quarterback 42. And then the Giants, Daniel Jones, quarterback 23. And pencil neck himself, Mike Glennon, not ranked. Just looking real quick across the board, we're all confident that Dak Prescott will keep his value, and we all actually say that he's underrated too.
This is a Dak Prescott podcast, apparently.
Apparently, I mean, my issue is like he's underrated by moving him up like one spot. Like I just take him over.
Yeah, no, it's more like I can see him going up 1 or 2 spots down.
Is Lamar Jackson consensus QB5 right now?
I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Real quick. I mean, I agree with. I guess we all agree that Dak Prescott's underrated. It's funny to say he's quarterback 6. Dude,
I mean, especially a bit. I was going to say part of Dak, too, his defense is actually going to help his fantasy chances.
Well, his defense, Mike McCarthy hates running the ball. And, dude, Dak has been a league winner. Like, if you've had Dak Prescott, aside from last year, like, the dude wins you games.
Jake still won the league. I mean, he traded Dak, but Jake still won the league having Dak. All right, well, no real controversy here. I mean, I think the 3 topics that we want to hit on, I'm just going to throw them all out here, and you guys tell me what you want to talk about first. Is Jalen Hurts the real deal? Frank kind of made a video on that already, but that's topic 1. Shout out Mrs. Hurts who commented on the video. Number 2 is the Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Taylor Heineke debate. And finally, number 3 is this Daniel Jones's last year? I think those are our 3 topics. So someone pick, where are we going?
Let's go Jalen Hurts first.
Okay. You made the video on it. Tell us what you think, Frank. Just real quick, I guess.
I think if you look at Jalen Hurts' keep trade cut ranking at quarterback 18, it's a screaming undervalue to me. Just because I do legitimately believe he has quarterback 1 potential. Not necessarily like high-end QB1, but I do think that he has the skill set, the work ethic, the mentality, all that to be a quarterback 1 and not just the short-term quarterback 1 that people are I guess the consensus is saying. I do think that he could be a franchise quarterback for years to come. That being said, I'm not sure in dynasty leagues he's a screaming buy because you are not getting him anywhere near a QB 18 price. You're going to have to shell up probably, I would say like a QB 11, QB 12 price.
I was going to say like QB 12 price.
I mean, maybe
even higher, just based on how young he is. That's the problem I have with this. Is nothing against Jalen Hurts, but to get him, yes, if you can get him at the QB 18 price, absolutely undervalued, great buy. But you're never going to get him there. I think you might even have to pay a QB 10 price, honestly, a top 10 QB price, because the guy that has him will likely think he's that good, think he has that upside with his legs, with that, an improved Eagles offense. You're never going to get him at that price, and that's the issue here with Jalen Hurts, not the actual player himself. It's the value that it could cost you.
And what's funny, too, is that Jalen Hurts right now, according to Keep Trade Cut at least, is under Baker Mayfield. But I think to buy him, you have to shell up more than you would for Baker Mayfield a lot of the time. I'm not sure if I'm right in that, but I think get the feeling.
I think they're close. I definitely think they're close. Because the thing with Jalen Hurts is he's the ultimate, like, kind of gamble, wild card, young QB out of all of these guys. Because I think for next year, if someone wants to say, oh, next season is going to be QB1, sure, because he's going to run the ball a lot. I could see him in that like 10 to 12 range just for next season. But the ultimate gamble is pretty much how is he going to be the guy, or are they replacing him next draft? Because if he does pay off and he becomes their franchise starter, his value rockets up. But at the same time, he could be replaced in a year or two. So that he's kind of the ultimate gamble out of all those young QBs, and it ultimately comes down to how much do you believe in him. I believe in him in more than QB 18, which is why I put the underrated. But at the same time, I'm still acknowledging, like, I'm speaking as a Jalen Hurts owner. There's a lot of risk with him. Like, it's you don't know, especially with the first round capital that Eagles have next year. I do think he will be. It's hard to predict it for him. I think he'll be pretty decent next year. I think next year the problem with the Eagles are going to be outside of Jalen Hurts. So it's tough to evaluate. I do think it's telling that the coaching staff passed on Justin Fields and kept him, and actually got him a weapon. So it's tough to judge. He's the ultimate wild card, because if he pays out, like, his value skyrockets, and then at the same time he could be a backup in 3 years. So it's
JT,
really hard to judge.
You have him overrated. Do you have him overrated at the QB 18 from Keep Trade Cut, or more like the consensus price that we kind of just mentioned, like more so like a QB 13, both. QB 12 kind of price overrated?
Both. I guess, I'll just go with the quarterback 18 because that's the lower one. I just think at that price, there's still players that are lower than him that I still think are more stable and players that I'm more confident will be in the league 3 years from now as a starter. Then Jalen Hurts. I mean, Baker Mayfield's the one that specifically I see. But, even Aaron Rodgers is behind him. I still feel like Aaron Rodgers could play till he's like 40, 42.
Wait, what is Aaron Rodgers ranked?
Well, all right. So since we've done this, actually, since I updated it, they're right next to each other. So Jalen Hurts actually moved up one to quarterback 17. Aaron Rodgers is quarterback 18. But the fact that they're right next to each other is too much for me. I just give me Aaron Rodgers all day over Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, but Aaron Rodgers, sorry, Mrs. Hurts, but Aaron Rodgers is literally an NFL MVP. I don't care what team he ends up on. Like, he's good. Wherever he ends up on, he will be fine. And then even the likes of, it gets tricky at the point where it's Mac Jones, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz. But that's where I'm taking like a good hard look at him. Like, I don't know who I want here. I don't know which one is the one to take. I mean, the Eagles told us we like Jalen Hurts over Carson Wentz. But do I trust the Eagles management?
Did they have a choice? That's the other question.
They did not. No, they did not.
Yeah. So, yeah, that sums up Jalen Hurts from mine. I guess I'm taking the contrarian viewpoint here. I'm more excited about this one, though. The Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Taylor Heineke battle. Frank, you've been the one slamming your fist on the table about Taylor Heineke for a while now. I've been on the same train as you. I kind of wish I still had Taylor Heineke in our league, but
your trade was Steve.
so I don't. But I would love to have Taylor Heineke right now. Again, just off waivers. I'm sure he's not on waivers in anyone's leagues now. Who's the starter on this team? And if it is Taylor Heineke, is he like a long-term quarterback?
I just think
the starter has to be Fitzmagic, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say. So I think I want to say has to be. I'd give Fitzpatrick the much higher chance. But if you're giving me my choice of which of these two I'd rather have, I just think the upside is so much more with Heineke. Because Fitzpatrick, what are you going to get at most? You're going to get 1 year of him starting, and it's what?
It could be like quarterback 14, 15 number, though, from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Maybe. I was thinking more kind of like a mid QB2. Well, Heineke, if he somehow takes the job, I don't think the Redskins are going to be bad enough where they're going to
football team. Yeah,
I was wondering who the first person was going to be.
I'm always the first one. The Washington football team. The Washington football team. I don't think they're going to be bad enough where they're going to be at the top of the draft. I think their defense is too good. I like the weapons they have on offense. I don't think any of their quarterbacks are like terrible. And so just the upside of Heineke, like, is that off chance that he could be a starter there? I don't know, maybe forever, but like if even like 2 or 3 years, that upside for me, I'd rather have Heineke rather than like, it's just his ceiling for what he could provide fantasy wise is way higher.
There are a couple things I like about Heineke. And listen, I've been beating the drum all offseason. It almost feels like the little buying window you had might have gone because there was a couple hype up.
He's starting to get camp hype. That
now you may actually have to pay like an actual price tag. And at that point, you could get someone that's legitimately going to play that like maybe you can pick up Ben Roethlisberger or something for It's slightly higher, but what are you gonna say,
to
JT?
pause you right there, Frank. He wasn't ranked on keep trade cut like even as much as like 2 months ago, and to that point, he's now, shot up even further than that. So that's just to show you what's happened in 2 months.
Yeah, so like the buying window is kind of 2 months ago, but regardless, if you have Taylor Heineke, so the first thing that I like about him is that if you just look at all the backup quarterbacks across the league, he's probably a top 3 backup. The only other ones I'd really argue are, what's his name? The Mariota, the one behind
Jimmy
Josh
G.
Allen,
Trubisky.
and Taylor Heineke. I mean, you can't really say that like Jimmy G or Trey Lance is a backup. Like they're not backups, right? So like other than that, Taylor Heineke's there. Though. Yeah, Kareem Hunt's a backup. The other thing I wish
say it one more time.
Kareem Hunt's a backup.
Yeah, but the last thing I want to say about Heineke, and I wish I had the names in front of me. It was a while back, but they showed the graphic in the playoff game, and it was like quarterbacks that made their first start in a playoff game. And there was like 1 or 2 guys on that list that actually ended up becoming like good, viable quarterbacks for that team. And I mean, I don't think anyone was playing fantasy football in like the 80s or anything. If you did, I commend you because you were really ahead of the game there. But if that, like, I don't think it's as crazy as people think could happen. Like everyone's saying, oh, well, Taylor Heineke, he's been in the league for so long. Like there's zero chance he could become something. Like, no, I do think that quarterback is one of the few positions where you can have major improvement by just sitting on the bench, learning from people. And dude, like Tony Romo said it best. It took him 3 to 4 seasons to really be able to spin it all over the field and be confident. Why can't that happen with Taylor Heineke? And he has that confidence flowing up, after having a really successful playoff game against the team that won the Super Bowl.
One could argue he played better against that defense than Mahomes.
He didn't have Devin White, but
I'm here for dumb takes.
Luna, so you about to say Taylor Heineke's greater than Mahomes?
Mahomes.
He's not willing to say he's greater than
right now. I got a Kyler Heineke Mahomes.
Dude, you can't tell me though that a lot of those guys in that locker room don't think that Taylor Heineke might deserve a chance. Like, dude, you saw how that entire team was rallying around him.
They definitely do.
At the end of the game, like.
Even just the end of the season, like you saw, I forgot who was against them, maybe in Carolina. The game Dwayne Haskins started, just playing like complete dog shit, and then they put in Heineke, and the whole team was like energetic on the sidelines. Like you saw Chase Young like hype as hell on the sidelines, and the whole team rallied behind him. I definitely think he's supported in the locker room.
When do you ever see that with a backup quarterback? Every single time a backup quarterback comes in, okay, Nick Foles, but Nick Foles, like, dude, if you picked up Nick Foles on waivers, that's a successful pickup. If you held him, dude, he was a starting quarterback at a time. I mean, obviously, if you diamond handsed him, it didn't pan out, but for a waiver pickup, you can't really ask for much more. That's what Taylor Heineke was. No one picked up Taylor Heineke for a non-waiver pickup. Like, you would have been a freaking lunatic.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we move on, what are you paying for Taylor Heineke? Because I was kind of coming at it from the perspective earlier in the offseason, because I know JT had him before he traded him. We won't get into the trade he did in our league, but I was going to try and pick up the Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick stack for a 3rd round pick. I was thinking that for like a mid-3rd round pick for that price that Kyle Trask goes off the board, I could pick up the Heineke Fitzpatrick stack.
For Heineke, I'd give a first half 3rd rounder. I think.
That's
just for Heineke or for the stack?
Just for Heineke.
Wow.
Now who's the Heineke fan?
Yeah, for real.
I'm the real Heinekean.
Well, to be
no,
fair,
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
To be fair, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't like many players after the mid-3rd. So
I was gonna say, like, if I'm saying like first, so like if I give up like 305 for him, like 3rd round's all dart throws. I'll take a dart throw on Heineke.
Yeah, 307, 308. And I think you could probably get that deal done pretty easily, to be honest. I think The other
I don't think in our league I can. But
I feel like it's a
generally,
little steep for Heineke.
307,
hate it.
308. Who
Who are you getting? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Ramondre
It's the same.
Stevenson.
You're all dart throws. Sure, he's just as big of a dart throw as Taylor Heineke.
I'd rather have Taylor Heineke than Stevenson.
I'm not even convinced that Ramondre Stevenson will be there just because he's running back and he's on the Patriots.
Give me Heineke.
Okay, well, if he's not there, then yeah, maybe. But like, if Amari Rogers, Ramondre Stevenson, Nico Collins,
Nico
Kellen
Collins
Mond,
Nico Collins is the only
Neither
one
is Kellen Mond.
if one of those guys are there, I'm gonna take him.
Well, I don't think Collins.
It would come close. I mean, one of them might end up being at that range, but I don't.
I've been
I
in
don't know.
drafts where one of those guys was on the board at like 305 to 307.
All right. Well, so you would probably be what, like a 401, 312?
Well, I would trade like 304 for the stack. I wouldn't do it for Heineke straight up. That's the thing. Like if I'm trading one of these picks, I want the stack. I don't want.
I don't know if you're
just
getting
one
the
of them.
stack for that. You might have to like 301.
Probably not.
212.
I think that now you wouldn't, but 2 months ago, if you went to someone with like 304 and said, "Hey, give me Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke stack," I think that you would have got it.
Probably
done.
could have
Now,
gotten
not
that
anymore.
for like 310. I mean, because there were talks about Fitzpatrick still retiring and Heineke.
Yeah, that was
nothing.
kind of my argument coming in, and like before the draft, especially. Like, dude, there's a buying opportunity here, but now I think the window might have closed. Let's move on.
Last thing, real quick, Daniel Jones last year, yay or nay? I say yay. This is Daniel Jones last year.
Is it the last year? Here's the thing. I'm kind of torn. I don't think he's going to be bad enough where the Giants are going to be like top 5 in the draft.
We have 2 first-round picks. If we want,
Yeah, that's the caveat.
We can move
Yeah.
up.
There's also,
And it's the Bears' first round pick.
personally, I only think there's like 3 good quarterbacks in this next draft, but like there's a lot of people saying that there could be like 5 or so.
There's always going to be a top one that breaks out.
Carson Strong, baby.
Don't worry, I'm trading all my picks to get to the, what is it, like I think 2028 draft. Whenever Arch Manning is coming out. Give me the new Manning. Give me the new Manning.
I'm trading all my picks for Frank Gore Jr. But with Daniel Jones,
Strong.
because here's the thing. Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are hyping this up for a big year 3 jump. He has a lot of expectations on him this year. They've surrounded him with weapons. I know their O-line isn't great, but you want to talk about receiving core and running back, like Jesus Christ, it's loaded with talent all around him, and they have a good defense.
He's got Saquon.
It's got Saquon. He's got Kenny Galladay.
That's it. Saquon.
That's
Kennedy.
it. Oh my goodness.
Shepard is very underrated.
Shepard, Slayton,
Well,
Tony.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
We'll get into them. But he has good weapons. Shut up, JT. But I don't think he's gonna make as big a jump as everyone says he is. But I don't know if it's his last year because I think he'll play decent enough to be able to get one more year. And I think
he's also a first-round pick, so they do have that 5th-year option.
5th-year option. Yeah.
So I definitely see him starting in his 4th season, which is next year.
I think they're going to let him start his 4th season.
Is Gettleman going to be there? Because if he is, I think that Daniel Jones is the quarterback. Unless Daniel Jones sucks major ass this year.
Gettleman, I didn't consider that. Gettleman bought himself time because he just acquired like more first-round picks.
Yeah, but if the Giants don't win the division, is Gettleman still there?
Yes.
You think yes?
I think it's hard to expect them.
I think they just gave him a lot of people are picking the Giants. If I'm not mistaken.
He's done a pretty good job up until this point.
He hasn't done,
and he got a lot of flack.
I think he had a good offseason. This offseason, I think he had a really good offseason.
Well, dude, like picking up, what was his name? Leonard Williams for nothing, and now he's ascended to what he was drafted to be as a top 5 pick, basically. Like, that was a great move for the Giants. And he's had other, like, pretty good – the only one that he really hasn't nailed, there's actually 2, is DeAndre Baker and right now Daniel Jones. But I think he's too stubborn. He's not going to move on from Daniel Jones. Unless Daniel Jones sucks ass, he's not moving on. And that's the thing. So I think David Gettleman's going to be there, and I think Daniel Jones is going to be there.
One thing that Gettleman got a lot of flack over was the Odell Beckham trade. But that looks pretty good now. We're seeing what top receivers are going for nowadays. So
Well, also just what
Wait.
Odell has done. Like the guy's been just basically
I don't think he's done. That's a
He's
whole
been a
different
wash.
discussion.
I mean, he's gotten
whole
injured
different
too, though,
discussion.
which
This is
kind
the
of
year of
sucks.
Odell.